Hello and welcome to a brand new video. This is going to be my first video of 2022. My plans for 2022 for this channel is I'm going to try to upload every week for at least the first month, but this video isn't about my plans for 2022. It's about rating POIs, so let's get into it. So let's start off with the Daily Bugle. This POI is pretty cool. It is a Spider-Man POI, which Spider-Man is my favorite superhero, but the POI is basically a couple buildings inside a volcano. This POI looks really nice in the trailer, but feels out of place when you see it with your own eyes. The Daily Bugle has a spider web which you can bounce on, which isn't anything new. It's like the bouncers. The main Daily Bugle building is pretty nice, but to be honest, I'm more excited to see what this POI will become after this season. But for now, I'm giving it a 5 out of 10. Next up is Camp Cuddle. It's basically a POI like Creeping Woods, but themed around the Cuddle team leader outfit. That's basically the POI. I hope they start making POIs like Cuddle Camp that are themed around a certain outfit. On the top of my head, I can think of a location called PLA Park, but it could be more skins, like maybe the ones from the Battle Pass and stuff like that. Anyways, I really enjoyed dropping this POI, and I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. So next up is Logjam Lumberyard. This is a POI that had a landmark on the Chapter 2 map called Logjam Woodworks, and later on the burger appeared. It's basically what you would think a lumberyard would be. I'm not the biggest fan of this POI, but it's fine. You can get a lot of wood from this POI, so I think I'll give it a 4 out of 10. Next up, we have Sleepy Sound. Let me just say, it's one of my least favorite POIs on this map so far. It's basically craggy cliffs without the cliffs, and a thing I feel like most of these POIs suffer from is the horrible names. Like, Sleepy Sound is such a bad name. It doesn't even fit the POI. I'm gonna have to give this a POI at 2 out of 10. Next up, we have Coney Crossroads, probably my most favorite POI of this map. It's a small POI, but very fun to land at. I don't really know what the word Coney has to do with the POI, because I googled it and it means a rabbit, and I don't know if there's another meaning of this. The other meaning I found was something about group of fish, and this POI really has nothing themed around that, so sadly it is my favorite POI, but for that name I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Next up, we have the Sanctuary POI. First of all, I'll talk about the name, Sanctuary. That name isn't good at all, and since this is a 7-theme POI, they could have called it like 7 Sanctuary. Anyways, moving on, the actual POI does in fact feel like a sanctuary. This is where the Foundation boss lives, I guess, and you can take him out for the Mythic MK7, so if you take him down, you have a pretty good loadout for the rest of the game. The POI isn't one I drop at a lot, but I see it being in this circle most of the time. Anyways, I'm gonna have to give this POI a 5 out of 10. Now I have another favorite of mine, the Joneses. The name is pretty weak, but I'll allow it. And this POI is like Camp Cuddle, and it is themed around the Jonesy skin. It has a lot of little Easter eggs, like the Peely punching stand and the little cube from the Imposters game mode. And you can find a lot of the Jonesy variants as NPCs here, such as Bunker Jonesy, Ludwig, which I didn't even know was a Jonesy, Brainiac, and Jonesy the First. Anyway, since of its like characters themed aesthetic, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Next up, we have Shifty Shafts, a POI from the Chapter 1 map. It's pretty okay. It's definitely Shifty Shafts, pretty sure. The review fan is in the same place. Don't have much to say. The name's really good, so I'm giving it a 8 out of 10. Next up, we have another POI from the Chapter 1 map, Rishi Grove. And Rishi Grove is one of my most favorite POIs from the Chapter 1 map. And I'm happy it's back. I didn't play a lot of Season X as I was Tier 1 at the end of the season, but I do remember the Taco Time Greasy Grove, which I prefer more than the Burger one. It's a small change, but it's pretty good. I'm giving this POI another 8 out of 10. Next up, we have a sorta OG POIs, Rocky Reels. It's basically a Risky Reels, but in the desert. It gives me a Mexico house type theme, and it's a POI I drop out a lot, so I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Now we are gonna move on to the last 2 desert POIs. First, we'll talk about Chunker Speedway, which the name, oh god, really does not follow the rule that if the first word starts with like the letter D, then the second word has to start with the letter D. This POI really is more of a landmark and not a POI. I really don't drop here, so I'm giving it a 3 out of 10. And the last POI we have is Condo Canyon, basically a POI like Paradise Farms. The name is one of the better ones. The size of the POI is really is how big a POI should really be. Like, it's the perfect size. It really feels like it should be a desert biome, so I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Well, that was the last POI, so Thank you guys for watching the video, and if you enjoyed, please consider subscribing or liking the video. Leave a comment on which POI is your favorite, and remember to keep on eating apples. Bye!